But then everything was at a standstill in the city, say, and no,
Well, that's-
no work or nothing, it's just
Yeah.
like it's getting.
People going along the road, they call them tramps, you know,
Yeah.
but there's people out of work, and I suppose they got out where they could stop in. You can remember that when people used
Oh,
to come
yeah.
along
I know.
all the
Yeah,
time.
those-
That was in Cleveland's time when you're.
Yeah.
Out of Cleveland.
I
Yeah.
remember Dad talking about that. He says, he was always, he never would vote Democrat, my dad.
Yes, that too.
But because he says, I'll tell you, we went through that once.
Yeah,
Because
but,
they had just started farming down there, you know, in Minnesota, southern Minnesota.
but you know, Henry, and they went on the Bryan's plan, and, you know, them old fellas, they thought if they'd inflate the money, there'd be $1. I had some of this, it's up to the museum in Balsam Lake.
Shin
They
blast.
called it Bryan's money, see?
Yeah.
Oh,
They talked about inflation, and them old fellas, they thought that $1 would be, well, it was about this big around, they figured, but the Republicans
I remember my
scared
dad,
the
he
Democrats, they figured they'd have to take a wheelbarrow to wheel the money to town and get a bunch of groceries, and they pictured $1 out about as big as a plate, and them old fellas, they didn't know any more about inflation than anybody.
Then we knew
My
that.
old Sam cat.
But
They
this-
figured that $1 would be about as big around as a plate, and they didn't want to have to carry money around like
Yeah, well, this
that.
is-
They thought that was inflation. They'd make a big dollar.
Well, this is what happened, you know, the Republicans had been in before.
When
And in Cleveland, that was about the first Democrat to come
Yeah.
in there, and the Republicans had the money. They were the
It was
ones-
just like Truman, he
Yeah.
was in there, and they had a
And then
Republican Congress, and
When Cleveland got in, Dad says then the Republicans drew out all the money, and
yeah, they made us a doggone hard.
Dad said they raised flax, you know, and you trash. Now that was the new ground. The first thing they put flax, because there was no wheat, you know, because
Yeah.
they plowed. And flax, they figured was a good crop. You'd go to town, he said, with a load of flax. There was no money there. They wouldn't give you no money.
Potatoes,
They-
5 cents a
Yeah.
bushel.
They'd give you a piece of paper, and he'd write on what
You'll
this
get
flax
the-
was worth, you know. Then you took that paper to the grocery store, and then he'd give you your groceries, and then he'd mark on
Get to listen
how
to
much the
script.
groceries were. But then he had them big, what he called shin plasters, they called them.
Yeah, yeah.
Big Democrats that tried to make money themselves, you know,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, he said, they had the worst times. He said, no money, you couldn't get no money or nothing.
Oh,
Well,
I tell you,
that's
they've
what-
had such hard times, them old fellas, if they'd happen to get their taxes paid and a new pair of overalls, by the time they thought they was making money.
That's right, there was no money around.